Go.
Hello, guys, and welcome to what I'm going to brand a Valanth Blood Bowl classic cast here, casting our mind back to Season 1. We are here at the semi-finals of the playoffs with Epic DD and his Smelly Boys as the Nurgles, and then Shenzhen bringing in his Chaos Draw with the perfect scores. This is a semi-final matchup, so the winner advances to finals for a shot at glory, and the loser is knocked out. Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is the match we had recommended by the other Valanth League players, and it started off excitingly with BB2 Smelly Boys getting the blitz in. Now, they're not generally a terribly mobile team, so this represents a huge opportunity, as we see, to literally get underneath the ball and maybe turn the game before it even starts.
They are swarming that thing, and this is bad news bears for Shenton because you can see his players are being completely cut off here. And yeah, they're just kind of, the sides have been left completely open. That's being exposed right here. And BB2's very happy just to walk through these left and right flanks because they've been left unprotected, and he falls over. Unlucky.
So we are in a 4 reroll Nurgle team, which is, a very advanced Nurgle team, as immediately the perfect scores try and get back on the ball. The only problem here, of course, as an early injury comes in, is the Nurgle team, they've got the movement up, but they don't have much to support the ball aggression.
Yeah, they don't. And Pestigor badly had no long term effect, but is going to be out, and that's already one important unit out of the game here.
Well, don't forget about that regeneration. That kicked in at the last seconds it would have been, but with a second reroll not going to be available, that's a second both down. And
forgetting one of the core rules of Blood Bowl there, do your non-risk moves before you do any risky moves. Right there, rushes in for the 2 dice, is punished for it, and now BB2 will be able to take advantage of a little bit of a tempo lead, as there wasn't really a complete turn there from Shenzhen.
Yeah, from Epic DD's side of things, I think maybe getting a little bit carried away here, moving in and going for the blitz straight away before moving up into the backfield. There is something to be said for making sure that, if this initial aggression on the ball doesn't pan out, that you're not left completely open. But the Chaos Dwarves outside of their Centaurs, they are not a fast team, and already one of the Hobgoblins who would be their potential ball carriers has been taken off the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Here as a knockdown comes down, that's a stun on Ironforge. What I'm interested in the most, they're just left a rotter in the backline there. What's he doing? He's just sat there. There we go. They moved him now. Thank God.
Well, that's not just the rotter. That's a 2 heads now on the floor rotter. I think Epic DD really needs to stay away from some of these go for it's. They're not working out very well.
Yeah, really not. And turnover means that Shenzhen gets a chance to bounce back and pick up from where he left off, which was wailing on some of these backline characters who have just kind of ran in. The short hands means he's able to secure the ball.
So for Shenzhen's side of things, as you see, they've got multiple Hobgoblins as the prehensile tail, the upgrade on the rotter there, actually comes in clutch, forces out the reroll, but Shenzhen down to 1 reroll already, has at least got the ball way into the backfield, but with no protection whatsoever.
True, but the question is, who can go there? You just talked about, the Nurgles, not particularly fast teams, can't really have that huge movement ability. He's about 5 spaces clear of everyone, 5-6 spaces clear of anyone who really poses a massive threat. So, good move from Shenzhen there. I like it. Very opportunistic. It's just whether or not they can make the punish happen.
No, you're totally right. Wow, we're seeing a dodge and a 1 dice blitz to start their turn. That is a bold move into the reroll.
Oh my God.
It works out this time, but wow, that could have been a real disaster, and a KO as well.
Oh, that has to sting, as all of a sudden control straight back in BB2's way is, I'm going to be honest, not the most likely of outcomes there. Getting a 1 in 6 there, but was forced to use a reroll. Question is, how much would he suffer for this? The turnover comes through.
Yeah, the lack of... So, we get a chance to talk a little bit about what's going on with the teams here. So, from the Nurgles side of things, coming up from the bottom of the pitch, their Chaos Warriors for the most... That's not the Chaos Warriors. Their Nurgle Warriors, for the most part, are actually pretty underdeveloped. There's only the one player, Lord Archon there, who's got Block and Claw, who can really do anything. The rest of them don't even have Block. They don't have Guard. they actually do match up pretty poorly against the Chaos Dwarves. And the Mighty Blow, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm liking the fact that both these teams starting off the first half by just trying to injure as many players as possible. That's another knockout, and that's huge because that's on B. He was a very, very big player there, and he's been knocked out now. And that was a big source of power, really, to try and injure as many players as possible. Does mean that now BB2 gets a little bit more chance to just, have some time with this ball and not get as many of his players injured or dead.
So we've got the Pastor of Rolling Heads, extra arms, short hands, which means it's only a 1 in 36 chance of not being able to pick up the ball. Really the perfect player to send back. There was a chance that Epic with DD's Nuggle team was going to get punished for being more aggressive because, as we saw, you move your guys up the pitch, it's hard to get them back down again. If that one dice block hadn't gone Epic's way, I think that would have been an early score for Shenzhen.
Yeah, it very much could have been, so had to go for the risk. It paid off there. Sometimes you are going to have to make those calls in Blood Bowl. They hope the dice are in your favour. However, I like the position that the Smelly Boys are in right now. Sure, the middle of the pitch looks a little bit risky, but they do have the ball. And I'm going to be honest, I can see them sneaking through. The issue is, once again, that lack of movement is... that is massive. The Beast of Nurgle, the oversized kitten, who was looking ever so strong to stand firm, an absolute rock, has now been broken.
That regeneration doesn't kick in as well, so this time, not the charm. Oh boy, I mean, this is massive for the Chaos Dwarf team. It's gone from being a pretty even strength-wise game to now being heavily, heavily favoured towards the Chaos Dwarves. I mean, as we've seen, the Nugget Warriors have not been able to get anything done despite having the strength advantage. I think it's going to be desperation time now for Nuggle. They need to score, I think, probably pretty quickly to stop the superior numbers from really coming to tell.
Yeah, they really are. The good news is they have a lot of control over this left side of the field, so they're just being allowed to walk through right now with this ball. The issue is if they don't get to that touchdown zone fast enough, and those Chaos Dwarves get over to deal some damage, that could be another 2-3 players, knocked out, injured. And at that point, things are looking really bad. That's a double dice roll.
I mean, there's nothing more that says desperation than when you see someone starting going 2 to red dice against. It wasn't outrageous in that situation because that was the killer player, Lord Archon of the squad. But now taken out of commission, that's going to be a very, very depleted Nuggle team. I mean, you're right. The left flank is literally all the team has left in the game at this point. As soon as the Chaos Dwarves close off the flank, then they are just done.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see all these 2 dice going down. You have to be wincing for BB2 here because these players very easily can just get injured. And it's only 1 or 2 more and they are completely out of contention, it feels like. They have to be so careful. And now that left flank, it's getting encroached on. There is no longer any control over this area.
Yeah, I mean, this is disastrous after the disaster for Epic DD. It's hard to argue that, necessarily this is the wrong move to go for the super risk at this point because you're already behind. Playing an even game's not going to get you there. And just trying to move the ball across the other flank, it does make sense. Those Chaos Dwarves, their movement is only 4. They will struggle to go from flank to flank. But while that flanking's going on, it's tricky. We've got a couple of hits coming back in, but we're not going to break that Chaos Dwarf armor anytime soon.
No, exactly. And they're just able to stand so strong. And you see desperation going for the 1 dice is trying to make something happen, but nothing really going their way. And as turn 6 arrives, feels like you never want to call a game over this early because it is Blood Bowl. There's a lot of luck involved. There's very much a chance that BB2 gets a few good rolls and he's back in the game. But right now, the numbers advantage is massive. There is just no control over the board for him, and it feels like Shenzhen can just really do what he wants here.
So this seems like a good time as any to pause and use our magical telestrating abilities to look over this game in a bit more detail. So let's look at what the major problems here are for Epic DD. So ideally, this Minotaur here is not here, which would open up this whole flank to make them move forward. But currently, there's just not really any way of getting past it without committing multiple players in. So in which case, you've got your... You could bring your Rotter in to give you a 1 dice block against it, but you literally haven't got access to anything else to get you the dice you need. So either you end up in a situation where you're using the 2 dice against and just hoping you get ridiculously lucky, or you put yourself in a position where you're going to get punched by that Minotaur again and again and again.
Yeah, I mean, realistically though, if I'm Bafu right now, I'm looking at that right flank, and that's where you have to make something happen. There's only 3 turns left for him to score on his half, and that's a very important thing to do in Blood Bowl. However, the Minotaur that you were just talking about being in the way, well, guess what? He's gone and just boshed someone the other way. That right flank, I mean, I know there's 2 people standing around, but it's open right now. At this point, I think Bafu just has to take the advantage and just run up there. I don't know why he's taking dice rolls right now. Just get your guy up that right flank and just hope to God that luck goes your way.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best possible scenario, though I say that, and... You can't do it. You can't do it. I mean, at this point, the only real threats are going to be the Hobgoblins here, and they are not spec'd for taking out a ball carrier. You know, we've got short hands there, and I think some extra other skills, but they're not, they weren't necessarily a massive threat. So those going for it, I would think were unnecessarily risky in a situation where I think it's hard to differentiate what too much risk is.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be able to make, like, you know that Dow in this position is going to have to take risks, but ultimately you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're rolling something silly. And right there, I understand the kind of get yourself as far up that flank as possible to make your player harder to access. Ultimately, though, there was 1 or 2 spaces that he was trying to get extra. We're not changing the access that the other 2 guys around him were going to get. So I felt it was maybe an unnecessary risk. Unlike maybe someone just running and trying to get that 1 square away from others so that they're able to avoid maybe a block.
So this is strange from Shenzhen. They had the Hobgoblin, which was over here, sending it down the pitch rather than being there in support. But Pastor doesn't go for a blitz. He's not going to... There's no way, I think, to get the ball anymore. I was certain we would see a blitz and then have Yggdrasil knocked over and potentially have the ball running down. But not happening, as the Chaos Dwarf Slayer, ironic name, is out of this game.
He's injured. Once again, a dice roll does not go Bafu's way. He's definitely getting unlucky. There's no doubt about that. But that is the nature of Blood Bowl. You need to play around those percentages, and it's 10-8 now. I imagine that Shen's going to be looking to deal maximum damage here. Right now, he has an advantage.
The kind of the issue here for Epic DD is, I mean, you're talking about unluck. I mean, there definitely is a degree of that, but the regeneration rolls outside, of course, of the death of their big guy have actually gone pretty well. So we've got 4 players sitting on the sidelines ready to come in, but because there's not a score happening and not, a change of half, even though those players have regenerated, they're not actually getting to contribute at all.
Yeah, exactly. It means that the amount of control that Shenzhen has right now is just massive. And he's like, oh, hang on a sec. Is this going to work? Let's have a look. Can he make the touchdown? He's
no
going
rerolls.
to be... No.
No.
He's one shot. We just got baited, I guess. I really understand why he tried to do that. But I guess gives him a catch, gives him some extra SPP, maybe towards the finals. Makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, a missed opportunity for Bafu here is... Oh, jeez. Oh man. So that wasn't even that was a going for it. But it's another regeneration, so that's 3 regenerations so far. So currently, Epic is batting above average on the regen rolls. You can see 5 players waiting to come back onto the pitch now. And the KOs for the Chaos Dwarves might actually... Yeah, 2 of them are staying out, including one of the Bull Centaurs.
Yeah, exactly. And now, with the second half underway, It's a big boost for Bafu because he gets a lot of players back. The issue is that now he does not have control of the ball anymore. He's going to have to kick it towards Shenzhen. And typically, in the half where you get the ball kicked towards you, you're expected to score. Bafu didn't do that, and so he's kind of sat in a little bit of a disadvantaged state right now, and he's going to have to work his way out of it.
This gives us another chance to talk about Shenzhen's squad overall. So, I mean, what they're kind of looking for a lot of the time, as we just check in, so this is... Yes, this is Hecarim, the Bull Centaur, as the perfect defense comes in. Who has got Mighty Blow on them. There's 3 players, Hecarim, Ironforge, and the Beast, 2 blockers and that Bull Centaur, all with Mighty Blow or piling on. So the ability for Shenzhen's Chaos Dwarf team that's perfect scores to actually cause injuries is exceptionally high compared to what we've got for the Nurgle squad, who've only got, I think, 1.5 ways of actually causing injuries, and the Nurgle, Beast of Nurgle, who was that kind of half, is already off the pitch permanently.
Mm-hmm. It appears that he's going for the blitzes before picking up the ball, maybe finding them a little bit more important to nail down, which I do find a bit of an odd decision, but we'll see if it works out for him. Just have to be careful that the dice maybe don't go in his favour, but so the cage setup should be a very easy pickup, but he's still not going for it.
Well, remember from before, the Pastor of Rolling Heads, he's the sure hands, extra arms guy, so the chances of him failing a pickup are basically 0. It is literally 1 in 36. But it's kind of strange that we've got the cage built over on the left-hand flank, but the space trying to be opened up by Epic DD is on the right, which seems like either they're planning on moving the cage diagonally across the pitch, or they're going to have to go through the bulk of the Chaos Dwarf defense.
Yeah, that is very true. We'll see what he's able to achieve here as Chaos Dwarf, once again, ironically, is knocked out. He's not had a good game, poor guy.
I think that's a bit of a target on your back when you name a player specifically. Oh, hold the phone. That's a reroll burn.
It is indeed. Shenzhen only has 2 remaining now. Bear in mind, Bafu can go for the more risky plays still. He has 4 rerolls in his back pocket, so has the ability to make a few risks and a few plays happen. We just haven't really seen it play out for him. He maybe locked himself in that mindset a little bit too late on into the round, and then you don't have the rerolls available, etc., etc.
So it's worth noting, so Epic DD, if I understand you correctly, currently known as Bafu.
Yes.
Which makes sense with the Bafu's Smelly Boys team name. They're currently 6th in the, in our current season at time of recording with the League of Dead Memes Undead team. They have a very, very high TV. The team that is very, very developed and also very large, which is quite a contrast from what we've got going on with the Nurgle squad, where I think by Bafu or Epic's own admission, they got some of these mutations just to see what they look like. They look amazing, in case you're wondering.
Oh, yeah.
That's your extra head.
I believe that was one of his reasons. He just wanted to kind of have a bit of fun with it, see what things are looking at. But, now this season, it's a little bit more serious. There's a lot more competition at stake, definitely. So I'm interested to see how he'll perform, because this season, like last season, he didn't really take his team composition building 100% seriously. He had a few odd losses about the board, and I think because of the shorter nature of the league compared to what we have now, we didn't have as much time to scale up his Nurgle squad. Whereas now, he's going to have a lot more room to kind of develop. He's going to have his head on the right way and not have 2 heads on his squad. And
hey man, you've got twice the chance of having your head on the right way if you've got 2 of them.
That's a good point. That is a valid point. We'll just have to we'll see what he's able to achieve. But yeah, right now in this playoff run, it's not looking so hot for him, as now his cage is being attacked here.
Oh man, and this is what we get from the Chaos Dwarf side. They've got killer skills. Now we've got Literal Goat being taken off, even if he regens here, which he does. That's regen, I think, at least number 3. I think I might have missed one. Yeah, is it number 4? Oh, nice though. 1 die block. But yeah, I mean, the regen has been exceptionally kind to Epic DD here. Any other team, like you take a Chaos team who basically got the same players, but don't have that regen built in, there's no way they can soak that amount of casualties and have even remotely a team standing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just now, where does Battlefield really want to go now? Because that right flank is looking a little bit more tricky. But the left flank does not look appealing either. So I'm not really sure where he wants to attack.
I mean, I think you kind of have to go for the left flank here. It feels like Epic was telegraphing so heavily that they wanted to go to the right, and Shenzhen has responded correctly. There's a line of players here which make it essentially impossible to move up the right-hand flank now. So you've got to try and make a serious move and move up, and I think that's what's going to happen right now. Unfortunately, the Hobgoblins do have enough movement, unlike the Chaos Dwarf blockers, to get back over and start getting in the way again, but there's still a chance here for Epic DD to go for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, absolutely. That might be what he's looking to do. Is the issue is really a numbers advantage now. You're starting to see on pitch there's about 8 players left, 9 players left for Bafu. Whereas still for Shenzhen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 or 11, something like that. I think it's 10. Around for him. So that extra man advantage means a hell of a lot, really, because it means he can get players around the ball more. It means he can leave a goblin sat at the back there in the middle of the pitch just for the sake of keeping it safe there. Yeah. He's allowed to do that.
Well, and as well, it's the numbers advantage is bad enough, but when you're talking about a Nurgle team in particular, when the numbers can be a little bit deceptive as well, because the Rotters really just they're a very okay player, but they don't measure up quality wise. So the massive amount of Chaos Dwarf blockers we've got here, the Bull Centaur as well. Like the remaining quality on the pitch for Shenzhen is even more like crushingly over the top than you'd expect it to be.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just so hard for him to kind of make his way through, because now he's gone for this left flank, and I'm spotting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players covering that left area now, 6 or 7, and it's just he can't move to one side of the pitch without these players just following.
No follow-up there in the block, so I'm kind of curious what Epic D is going for here. Because, right, there is a very small window of opportunity to get up this left-hand flank, and I'm not... Oh, jeez, there's one dice blocks. You're killing me. You're killing me.
Well, he's killing his own players, really, but... That's another turnover, and turn 12 for Shenzhen, and he's got so much control. I'm imagining an offensive is about to be mounted on this cage.
It's not the best of offensive so far, but the reroll will salvage it. That's the last one for Shenzhen, and I realise now, from what I said before, was maybe a bit misleading, because we're in the playoff stages. If there is a score from Epic DD here to put it into a draw, the game will not end. We will be going on to extra time from then to try and get some game resolution. So, as bad as it's looking for Epic DD right now, I don't think it's unwinnable. It's just trying to find a way to break through what's been so far a really good defense from Shenzhen.
Yeah, and the best offense can sometimes be a good defense, and Shenzhen's kind of proven that right now. Epic DD has had a lot of the ball, a hell of a lot of ball possession, but he hasn't been able to do anything with it. I don't think he made one advancement on the right flank in the first half, but that was very quickly kind of squandered, and it's just kind of fallen apart from there, and he just can't get through. Which is credit to Shenzhen for creating such an ironclad defense.
I think what's got to happen here is that some spaces opened up here, and then we're presumably going to see Epic DD move back to the other flank, because there's so little time left here that for Epic DD they can't afford to be doing things like what we saw. Epic was trying to push players off the pitch and things like that rather than focusing on actually scoring. Oh boy, that mighty blow.
Yeah, that's another injury coming in there.
Miss next game. No, another regen though. So what? That's number 5 in this game.
5, 6. I've also lost count now, mate. As look at it once again, it's the numbers advantage. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 players now left for Bafu on the pitch, but still, Shenzhen's players are standing strong. The perfect score is looking quite perfect right now, I have to say, in terms of their defense. And that's another stun. It just, that ball carrier is so vulnerable now.
Yeah, I mean, I would have really liked to have seen an attempt to break away. I mean, there's actually quite a lot of room on the right flank now, as much as, the Hobgoblins will immediately be back over there. But the Nugget team, they're just getting all knocked to the floor now, and I think this is one of those situations that, as a Blood Bowl coach, you can get into and think, oh boy, I've been so unlucky in this game. But I generally don't think that's what it's been. Like, I think it's been the decisions that I've made which have led up to that point. But hey, I mean, that's a bold blitz. I think we might be about to see a bold run up the pitch and hope that the other person somehow doesn't get the ability to knock you down ever.
No, you would hope so. As there comes the knockdown. It's a foul.
It's a foul with the ball carrier.
No, it's like, oh.
I mean, it's not very likely to score, but that pretty much guarantees you're not going to.
Yeah, I think he's going to be looking for maybe an overtime play here. Once again, has two players on the side of the pitch right now that are going to come back on after a regen. He might just be looking to survive for this half now. The issue is that now the numbers advantage is so big that Shenzhen could theoretically just walk up. However, it's a turnover. He got unlucky with the dice roll, and it's back with a Bafu for turn 15.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what can happen at this point. So we've got the ball. We're going to try and run out of the pitch. It's worth bearing in mind that we are still 0-0 in this game. It's been so all over the place that I think I had it in mind that, because Shenzhen's been playing quite well, that they actually had scored, but it just hasn't happened in this game. I don't think, like, looking at the amount of spaces that we've got left on the pitch, all the way to here, even with the rerolls for the going for it, I don't think you're going to be able to get up. You've got, what, 2 spaces of going for it? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think, maybe? I don't know, I can't do maths.
It would be, so if his movement is 6, then it's just possible. So
yeah.
6 plus 2, and then 6 plus 2, but that is not possible.
Oh, so we've gone from being potentially remotely possible to impossible.
Yeah, that's not happening. I know that because if you're a gutter runner for Skaven, that's the limit where you can touch down. That is not a Skaven gutter runner, though. That is... that's a Naga warrior. They do not move as fast.
So, I don't know, maybe we missed that they ran out of movement, or that they used up some movement in a way which we didn't notice before. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you're right, the Epic DD is just kind of trying to play to keep the team as intact as possible. I mean, we may find that's not going to work out terribly well. But at least if we do go into extra time, I believe that will result in an extra kickoff. I don't see a huge amount of draw extra time actually end up being played. But if that's the case, that will mean those regened members will be coming back on the pitch. And so at least Epic DD stands a chance.
Yeah, exactly. And now ball carrier is knocked down. Might just go for a pickup for some extra SPP, but then again, it's the playoffs now. Don't think SPP is going to be your biggest priority at this point. Just going to be about winning those games. It's another stun, and ball is fumbled still.
Yeah, I mean, literally, if you win this game, you have one more game in the grand finals, and that's it. There's no best of anything in this kind of situation here, as much as I kind of like the idea, actually. I don't think it's really a thing for Blood Bowl.
No, the thing is that it's because of the consuming damage. Like, if you lose one game, you've probably got a player disadvantage with injuries and stuff like that. So that you're already kind of going into the second of the series with a big disadvantage, typically.
Yeah, so I imagine that would only really make sense in an Immortal League or, where no injury kind of league.
Yeah.
Okay. We've gotten to the end of what would be the normal game with no scores being made on either side. We'll see what happens from here. Oh, whoa!
Oh, that's big. That is very, very big. That's a death. But Apothecary comes in and there is no casualty in the end. However, did force that cooldown to be burnt, as Shenzhen now gets one last chance in this second half to just run right over the Smelly Boys, and we'll see what damage he can do.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be all paying off when it comes to the next setup and kickoff as, oh boy, Phantom Dancer. We barely knew you. Fortunately, this is actually one of the Pestigors that doesn't really have too much going on for themselves. So them being KO'd won't make a massive difference one way or the other. I mean, I'm just going to have a quick look through the players who are left in circulation. So, yeah, having the ball carrier getting sent off hurts a huge amount, but the biggest thing coming into the second part is going to be whether or not Lord Arcus the Devourer comes back on, that Nugget Warrior, the only one who's got any way of actually dealing with the Chaos Dwarves.
Yep, and we are now heading into overtime. Is it another kickoff? I'm pretty sure it is, but I don't know 100%, I'll be honest.
There we go, yes it is. I thought for a second it was just going to carry on.
Yeah, and I was like, hang on a sec.
Alright, so what are we looking at here? So 3, 6, 9, 10 players for the Nurgle team. 3, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it's a full team for the Chaos Dwarves. The only advantage I think that Bafoo or Epic DD's got is that there's no rerolls left for Shenzin's team. So there's still the possibility that a fairly safe roll will end up screwing up and open up an opportunity for Nurgle to come back and win it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's an extra bribe now, so if no one wants to foul some players in desperation at some point, I guess. But it is a touchback.
So this is going pretty much as well as you could hope for. The Nurgle team, with their rotters, they can make tremendous use of fouling, and though without block, they won't necessarily make tremendous use of blocking. But still, touchback is brilliant. Oh, I'm not a big fan of these block rolls here. These Chaos Warriors are not reliable in the slightest.
He's going for a blitz as well. He could be moving up his ball carriers right now in this cage and getting them closer to a potential touchdown. Never mind. Different thing. However, I do like the idea of shutdowns. If there's ever like some sort of like futuristic sci-fi version of Blood Bowl, then if we could call it a touchdown shutdown, that would be pretty hype.
I think so. Blood Bowl's always been a little bit weird in that it's, as far as I can tell, it steals a lot of terminology from American football, which to a mainly British audience of what sort of Games Workshop games would be, didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like stuff like downs and things like that, which just like to, at least to my ears growing up, I was like, huh? I didn't understand what nearly anything was in the Blood Bowl rulebook because they didn't actually explain what the terminology was. Maybe they did, and I just didn't read it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, this cage is not a great cage for the Nurgle team. It's made up of Rotters and Beastmen, and now it's going to have an Angry Minotaur next to it.
Right in right in front of the cage as well. So it means that moving about now going to be made a lot more difficult. It's kind of 3 members there in the tackle zone of that big Minotaur.
So, an important thing to note here about the level of development we've got for the Chaos Dwarfs team is because their Bull Centaurs are the best players, or amongst their best players at least, they actually aren't as developed as they could be for the squad. We've got B, who hasn't got anything, and Hecarim, who's got Mighty Blow, but there's not any real ability to move those Bull Centaurs around as, one dice blocks. I've said it before, I've said it again. You're killing me.
He is as well, and the thing is, he isn't just killing you, he's killing himself on the board here. And there's not much room for him now, as he's just getting closed in on from so many different angles. This cage cannot move about, and feels like now a swarm of Chaos Dwarves just closing in on that ball carrier.
Okay. Let's look at this through the most rose-tinted version of the scenario as, oof, that's not great. So, in good news, the Chaos Dwarves are committing in very heavily to the left-hand flank here. So if Epic DD wants to make a run down the right-hand flank, then that is actually a possibility for him, and the Chaos Dwarves won't be able to move aside. It's doable. Because the Bull Centaurs, what I was trying to get at before is the Bull Centaurs don't have break tackle, which is a core skill for them because it lets them dodge. As it is, they can't get away from where they are right now. They may be really good players with very high movement and the ability to go 9 spaces in a turn, but if they can't dodge away and they can't knock down enough, or they can't make a dodge, never mind. Forget everything I just said.
And that now means there is an open ball. It's Shenzin's turn. It is looking even more dire, I have to say. But Shenzhen still has to pick that ball up and take it to the touchdown zone. And that's a lot easier said than done, typically, in Blood Bowl. I think Bafu, he's took some risky plays and they've not really worked out. But Shenzhen now, he's going for it.
There's no rerolls. Oh, boy. I don't like that at all, because we've got a Hobgoblin here with sure hands, just with an AG3 as well, just waiting to stride in and pick that ball up relatively risk-free, but Shenzhen operating with no rerolls at all. This could end up really hurting them, because Nuggle's actually been able to coalesce around the ball once more, and with a good AG roll to pick that ball up. Oh. What am I saying? What am I saying?
The good news is that now Bafu has 2 players around the ball. He's managed to push also a Chaos Drove behind him and kind of make this line of players that you can kind of see developing here. The issue is trying to hold that line is still, once again, a lot easier said than done. As right now you're seeing the power of these Chaos Droves really just bonking people left, right, and center.
I mean, the good news is that the Minotaur is out of commission for this turn, but actually, there's actually another piece of good news, which is that the right-hand flank is massively wide open. If we don't see Shenzhen move anyone in to cover it, there's a decent chance we have the ball getting picked up. What?
No.
Okay. That makes life a little bit trickier, because that was a bit unfortunate. That pickup was wildly optimistic. But I'm trying to think of it. Okay, I think I know how this works. No, that doesn't work. So first things first, you gotta get rid of that Hobgoblin. That's pretty straightforward.
Dealt with. Okay,
from here?
next move.
I don't know why you do... Okay. I'm not sure, but I think... I don't know what they were going for there.
It appears that Mr. Harnell's mind has been blown here.
Okay. That's not actually that outrageous, because the Rotter has got agility 3, and with 2 heads, a dodge isn't actually that unlikely. That was probably actually an okay move. I just didn't spot it.
Yeah, and the thing is what I've noticed is that Shenzin's pretty much had control of this game for 21 turns now. He hasn't scored.
Yeah.
Really. Which has been very surprising. I think he's been very good at holding his ground, but he needs to kind of push a little bit further. And that's a kind of a big thing to look for, at least towards the finals of the season 1 playoffs, which, I mean, we technically don't know the result of, but we might end up doing a follow-up cast as Knockout comes through. That's... Oh, okay. Wait, hasn't there a Apothecary?
I guess so.
He has to have had.
Yeah, that's been downgraded to stunned, which we've only got 3 turns left in overtime for each of these players before we reach the mythical penalty kickoff, which, as much as I rarely see overtime come into play, I don't think I've literally ever seen a penalty kickoff. We'll burn that bridge down when we come to it, because penalty kickoffs are literally, like, they're a tool for a tournament organizer to be like, this game just needs to end.
Oh, man.
We're getting closer to one, though.
We are. There is a turnover. The third half, don't ask your maths teacher about that one, is coming to a close soon. Only 2.5 turns left, and I'm wondering, can Shenzhen get control of this ball? There are 5 Nurgles hanging about now 4, and Now 3. They're going down a 1-1, and he needs to just continue to get some control here as he's able to pop this ball right out of there and into the hands of one of his players.
Wow. That's one of the occasions in which the disturbing presence actually does something. With the catch results there, but having that land in the hands of a Chaos Dwarf blocker, followed up though by having a 1 dice block on the only beastman who could reach that Chaos Dwarf blocker. Whew.
Well, we'll see what Bafu's Smelly Boys can do about this. As now he does have around 4 or 5 players hanging about that guy. It's just whether or not they can move him out, as it's a straight up blitz into 2 dice, and he gets the knockdown.
You can also get a chain push going on here. Where's the ball going to go? Into the hands of the Rotter! And there's still this Beastman who's left open and ready. Phantom Dancer can push the Hobgoblin away. And then we've actually got a run towards the end zone.
Yeah, it's a potential option now. As technically pushing with his players further towards that area. As no, so let's move the Rotter, but oh yeah, he's scoring on that side. I managed to lose track on what side they were scoring on. That's impressive. The question is whether or not he can make the run. Well, that's going to have to be going for it at least.
Oh man, you can't do that kind of stuff, Epic, when you're so reliant on this group of players being tied up. To go for a 1 dice block against a block player with a non-block player, immediately, yeah, we're going to have the Centaur. No, we're not going to have the Centaur free, but at least we'll have the Hobgoblin and the Chaos Dwarf. The Rotter made a good run for it, but it's not going to stay up any more time. We're running out of overtime as well.
Yeah, we are indeed. Gets pushed back another square. It's going to be forced to make a block. And that's only going to continue as more players start walking around him. He's going to get caged in by the opposition there. And it's looking more and more likely that penalty shootout that I've never seen unfold and don't even know how it works.
If memory serves correctly, both players roll a dice. Whoever rolls the highest dice wins the game.
So what you're saying is it's 100% skill based as to who wins the penalty shootout.
Well, the Minotaur's not really part of it, being KO'd and Decay. Okay, so it's a Rotter being set off, who cares?
It is.
Let's see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it's not possible to score anymore. In fact, I should be able to eyeball that. Alright, punching time, I suppose.
Yeah, it's punching time. And the thing is that now, I mean, in the last turn of Shenzhen, do you even want to risk any dice rolls not going your way if you're going for a penalty shootout? Because if it's just a dice roll, then you're just putting your players at risk, surely.
I mean, I could definitely... When you're blocking with someone who's got blocked like the Chaos Dwarf blockers, it's not really that much of a risk.
I guess, yeah.
Especially because the chances are you're going to be knocking people over. I mean, I fully expect to see Epic DD... Of course, we haven't really... this is maybe a little bit of a failing on the UI's part from Blood Bowl 2. That I believe it was in this half that the bribes were brought into play.
Yeah, that was why the foul happened, right?
Or maybe it could have been before... Oh, I can't remember.
It was this round, I'm pretty sure. I want to say. I'm at 80% sure. That's not 100%, but it's close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe not the opportunity that rises. There's a pass. There's the intercept by the Rotter with 2 heads. The Brain Assault. What a beast. And if I've remembered how this works correctly, it's penalty shootout time. Oh, yeah.
And there are no unused team rerolls. So there's a straight who can roll the best dice.
I have to say, I feel like... So, as a Nurgle coach in the making myself, I'm kind of like, this game has been a little hard to read, as we do see one of the Chaos Warriors going for the ball, and it's wide. I think this is an abstraction of the dice roll rather than necessarily directly representative, so I don't know what that means. As far as
maybe they have to roll a certain number on the dice?
Okay, That's the score. I believe it's not like football where you have multiple chances. It's just that's the representation of Shenzhen wins.
And is that it? We were just standing here now?
Awkward pause.
I think this is where it ends. Shenzhen, it's safe to say he had a lot of control. Certainly had the upper hand in this game, but didn't seem to be able to make that materialize. However, in a penalty shootout, rolls higher, and so through an entirely skill-based victory in the match, Shenzhen is our victor.
I mean, from where as much as that match ended in a truly ridiculous fashion, I mean, you look at some of the numbers here. So, for example, 20 armor breaks versus 10. This is what you get when you have killer players on the team. And for whatever reason, the Nuggle team just didn't. You know, I don't know if they just hadn't managed to pick up enough SPP as they've gone along, but that sees them out. In SPP-wise, you've got a good setup here for Shenzhen coming in. That's 2 players guaranteed leveled ups if they weren't already. I feel like for Shenzhen, the defense was very good when it came to their use of the Chaos Dwarves, but I feel like their use of the Hobgoblins was not great. Like, they weren't using them. Like, when there was a chance to pick up the ball, it was given to a Chaos Dwarf, and the Hobgoblins were getting kept so far back. I don't really feel like they even contributed a huge amount to the game, even though Shenzhen's Hobgoblins are actually... They've got tons of a variety of different skills. They've got Strip Ball, they've got Sure Hands and Shadowing, they've got Block in there and stuff. So, as Shenzhen is now locked in for the finals, I'm hoping what we'll see from them in the finals is them using the Hobgoblins more. Even if they can win a game with just Chaos Dwarves and Centaurs, they shouldn't be.
Yeah. I think those Hobgoblins are very important, especially because of that increased movement ability. Your Chaos Dwarves, if they get the ball, they're not going to be able to move as much of it. The Hobgoblins are the ones who are going to be able to sneak around a flank or make that final run into the touchdown zone a lot easier. So I think, I don't know, it was very good defense, started like a rock, but just didn't, use any of his advantages. He had them, but he just kind of kept them. He never wanted to actually convert it into a touchdown. And I think that could have really cost him. In fact, it came down to a dice roll, so it very much could have cost him.
Yeah, I mean, given how well each of the players were playing the game, like, it's not for the intention of just flaming Bufu here, but like Shenzhen was playing the game better. The fact that it came down to a coin flip at the end, and Epic DD could have won it anyway, like, that's unacceptable. Like, as in a risk management game, that if you play better than someone else, but ultimately you leave the entire game up to a coin flip, like, that's, it's a big failure on your part as a coach, like, to get to that point. And I know I'm kind of flaming both parties now, but I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to crush spirits.
Well, you didn't crush mine, so unlucky. Better luck next time. Don't worry. So we're going to end it off here, though. Was a very, very fun match to watch, albeit, I would say a flawed match, but a flawed masterpiece, as we were able to run straight to that penalty shootout. Never before seen footage.
I literally, genuinely had never seen a penalty shootout happen, because I didn't even know what the animation, if it had an animation, or if it was just like, this guy wins.
Oh, there you go. But congratulations, Shenzhen, who will be moving on to the finals to face Valkyrie, who just took down Byron Villa and his Skaven. So
don't talk about Byron Villa like they're not you.
I'm trying to do this as if we were commentating. Just leave it, okay? Fine. We might catch the finals at some point. Love you guys.
Alright, later, nerds.